Welcome, Trippers, to episode 15 of Tripping Through Transformation. I'm your host, Guillaume Poirier. Today's guest is Michael Hunsinger. Michael is a functional nutrition chef. He is also half of the MD and Chef team, the other half, of course, being his lovely wife, Dr. Isabel Hunsinger. Michael is going to tell us all about functional nutrition and how you can apply its principles to your daily life in order to improve your overall health and well-being. It's a very informative and interesting conversation, so I hope you stick around for that. Later on, I'm going to tell you about microdosing and how I've been using it to improve my mental health this past week. And I'm also going to share a little bit about a project that I'm working on, a book on men's mental health. So without further ado, balance, drop the beat.
Balance makes it bang.
Michael, thank you so much for joining me on Tripping Through Transformation.
Excellent, Guy. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had a great time going on your show with you and your wife, Isabel. It was a great time, and I'm happy that you decided to come on my show. And you want to talk about functional nutrition, I think you said today, right?
Yeah, functional nutrition. How does that sound?
I mean, it sounds interesting. You're going to have to unpack that for me and tell me what that all means. I mean, I'm ready to listen to you. I've got some questions, but I want to hear more about what is functional nutrition, Michael.
Well, that's interesting because, I'm classified as a functional nutrition chef. Now, that sounds like a big mouthful. So breaking it down, we all kind of understand what a chef is.
Yeah.
Right. And then when I say nutritional chef, all right, well, that's probably something about nutrition. And then when you say functional nutritional chef, what the heck is that now? Where are we going? We are tripping with transformation right here.
Yeah. Well, for me, when I think about, cooking, it's like, oh, you're eating a healthy dish, but now functional, I feel like there's got to be a purpose behind what you're eating, right?
Yeah. You're digging in. You're digging in.
Right.
Right. A purpose behind it. And so functional nutrition is like it's a specialty of functional medicine. And functional medicine, to give you a little bit about that, so how we can break this down. Functional medicine is where you hear this term root cause. Let's get to the root cause. Let's find out what's going on here. And so traditional medicine, we have that, but we have functional medicine, which my beautiful wife, Isabel, our team we're the MD and Chef team. And she's a functional medicine doctor. So functional medicine, to give you an analogy, is imagine, and this will hurt, so I'm sorry we have to imagine this, but imagine you stepped on a tack with your bare feet. Yeah. Of course that hurts. And so traditional medicine would be to take some aspirin, take some painkillers, and make the pain temporarily go away.
Yeah.
However, eventually, when that wears off, unless we keep taking that stuff day after day after day, we're going to have a pain in our foot. So functional medicine says, okay, well, I can take some aspirin right now, but let's look at the cause of that. So logically, it's like, why don't I just pull the tack out of my foot? That would probably help. Yeah. And so functional medicine, when we say get to the root cause, means, okay, temporarily we can get some help. But then long term, let's look at what's caused this pain. Let's look at what's caused the symptoms that we have. So traditional medicine treats the symptoms. Functional medicine treats the cause. You see the difference there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same thing with functional nutrition. There's standard nutrition, and standard nutrition is basically, hey, eat your veggies, drink lots of water. I mean, all the things we hear and most people don't do, but still, traditional medicine says, eat your veggies, eat your greens, get some good lean meats, and don't eat the packaged foods, and make sure you stay hydrated and you'll be all good. That's kind of traditional nutrition.
Yeah.
Well, what you find is, guess what? We're all different as individuals. So we can blanket that nutrition statement, which is good. It's a nice foundation to start. But for most people, you'll find that long term, they need more than that. You know, there's a lot of people that say, we probably all heard this, where people say, I eat so healthy, but I can't understand why all this is going on. Well, that's because, okay, you might be eating healthy, but we need to look at what's going on, what's the causes, what's happening in your life, and break it down to find out, so what nutrition do we need to apply to you as an individual to get to you to your optimal health? And that's going to be totally different for every one of us.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I wanted to ask you about, is the individual like approach, because everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to have maybe nutrients that they're lacking. But for me, you know, like I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis like in 2006, 2007. And I would always ask my doctor, like, should I monitor my diet? Should I change what I eat? And I was always told, no, not really. Your disease is your disease. Take your Remicade, take your prednisone, take this, and you'll be good. And, you know, once I had my surgery, I did a little bit more digging, and I was like, man, like, should I have really been paying more attention to what I eat and maybe not jump into surgery? So yeah, I'm definitely interested in what the benefits of functional nutrition could do. So how, like, what can you tell me about it?
Yeah. So you, any of us as an individual, I mean, that's why the word diets, what we kind of understand now as diets, because diet actually used to have a good term. Diet had a Greek originality called diete, which it meant lifestyle. But now when we hear the word diet, we think of, oh, it's a certain way to eat, or I'm on this diet, I'm on the paleo, I'm on the keto, I'm on the Mediterranean, I'm on the lots of meat diet, I'm on the carnivore diet, I'm on this diet. And that's what we think of a diet in today's world. And for, well, usually I would say for most people, when they try to follow a diet, yes, they might get some temporary results, but long term, it's not going to get them to where they want to get optimally, because they're taking something that's a blanket approach to nutrition and applying it to themselves. And maybe 1 out of 100 people with that way is going to get the results they want. The other 99 are going, well, it was kind of good for a little bit, but I mean, you know, mostly eventually people just give up and say, well, this didn't work. Well, it's not, it didn't work. It just, you know, wasn't exactly for you because we didn't work it the way it needs to be worked for you individually.
Yeah. I know keto was big a few years ago. I tried to get on train with it. I couldn't stay with it, but you hear about all these carnivore diets, like you said, and, you know, gluten-free diets. And certain people will say, you know, I swear by eating only meat. And some people will say, well, I swear by only eating vegetables. And they might both be living perfectly healthy lifestyles, but I try it and it doesn't work for me. So is there a way that an individual can kind of figure out, okay, well, what's my approach? What should I be focusing on? Or, because, you know, like you said, it's not really, you can't really blanket everybody, right?
Right. And that's the thing. You know, you were talking about things that were going on in your life health-wise. Well, you're going to have a certain nutritional panel that's going to work for you, for what you're trying to achieve. Because if I don't have that, or the next person doesn't, I mean, what we have to do is we have to look at lifestyle factors. So we have to look at, I'm just using you as an example. We have to look at Guy. Okay, what age is he? You know, because you can't give the same nutritional panel to a 30-year-old as you can a 60-year-old. The 60-year-old needs more protein because of the hormonal balance in the body. A 30-year-old male doesn't need as much protein as a 60-year-old male.
Okay.
You would think the young guy does, but later on we need more, because all of us as individuals, from the age of 30 on, every decade we lose 3 to 8%. We can lose 3 to 8% of our muscle mass. So if we're not, you know, working on resistance, if we're not slowly increasing our protein levels throughout the decades, we're just going to lose our muscle mass. We're going to become weak. We're not going to have any definition. And muscle is one of the most important things that we need to remain on our body to have strong mental health and physical health. So I can't give the same nutritional panel to a 30-year-old as I can a 60-year-old. I can't give the same to a man as a woman. Women have different hormones. It depends what age. If they're perimenopause, menopausal, the hormones affect the way the body is working. So we have to look at a nutritional panel that works within the hormonal panel of that individual. What's the sleep patterns of that person? Do they sleep well? Because sleep affects nutrition, nutrition affects sleep. It's a crossover. They affect each other. So we have to look at the sleep patterns of somebody. We have to look at their stress levels. Excuse me. How much stress are they under during the day? Or is it? And when I talk about stress, I'm not talking about, well, you know, everybody knows if we have to move home or something, or, you know, if there's been some tragedies in our life, it's stress. I'm just talking about that daily nagging chronic stress of maybe paying the bills, or the work problems, or the kid problems, or relation problems, that kind of ongoing daily stress. How much stress is in your life? Because there's certain nutrients in foods that we have to look at that would give us more nutrients for stress levels. We also have to look at times of the day then. And I can get into many, many other factors, but, you know, when we dig down in, somebody says, I'm eating healthy. Well, then we have to look at, okay, so what are the macronutrient levels of what I'm eating? Meaning how much protein, how much carbohydrates, and how much fats am I eating at each meal? Are they in balance for me? And the way I run my day, is that in balance? What's my daily plan, and the way my daily schedule? When do I eat? When don't I eat? How much do I eat at certain times, and all that? So functional nutrition, as you can see, digs down deep into the individual, so that we can lay a plan out for that individual that's going to help them to get whatever they're looking to optimize and what might be going on in their life.
Yeah. So you've mentioned nutritional panel quite a few times. And what I'm getting is, you know, this panel is determined based on, first of all, who you are as a person. So male, female, how old you are, right? And then your lifestyle. And then also kind of what your intended results are. So do you want to be an athlete or whatever? So there's a lot to take into consideration here.
Yeah.
So is this like just a bunch of tests and questionnaires you got to fill out? Like how does this work?
Yeah.
Blood work and questionnaires and urine samples and all that.
Yeah. I mean, the difference, you know, again, it kind of goes back to functional medicine, functional nutrition. When you're doing anything in what's called functional, you can call it functional, integrative, or holistic. Those are the three terms that are used in medicine and nutrition. Is when you're working in that world, this is now giving the individual the time, not a 10-minute visit. This is spending time with someone on over a period of time to dig down deep into, okay, here's where you are now, here's where you want to be then, and then how do we get there? And then we've got to find out all the factors that are going to take us there, and then we can apply it. And so, yeah, there might be some tests that need to happen, because there might be most people, when you actually sit down with them and talk to them about what's going on in their life and how they feel, and I'm also not talking from the neck down. Yeah. I'm talking the whole body. I'm talking about, just because you might say from the neck down, I feel good physically, but there might be stuff going on up here. And I can guarantee you 100% that what's going on in our nutrition, meaning our gut health, affects our mental health. So there might be some stuff going on up here in our head with mental health. Well, nutritionally, we need to look at what's going on, because you might say, well, I feel great from my neck down, but what's happening up here? Because it's all connected and it's all affecting each other. So yeah, there might be some tests that need to be done. It's definitely going to be something where you need to sit and spend time with people. And that's where the difference is between traditional and a functional world. Well, this isn't like a 10-minute visit where it's, okay, you got these symptoms. Okay. Or here's this diet. Yeah. I sat with a nutritionist and they said, yep, here, do the keto diet. Here's some plans for the keto diet and go ahead. You're done.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way.
That was kind of my experience. I know when I was having my colitis flare-ups, I would visit a dietitian, and at the time, the solution was, well, follow Canada's food guide pyramid, right? And since then, the whole pyramid's kind of been turned over on its head and changed around. But I felt like it was just that blanket approach. Well, just follow the guide. Just follow the guide. It was like, yeah, but I have kind of a special circumstance here. Like I have a gut disease, or autoimmune disease, but in my bowels, right? So. But yeah, I was shocked that there was never offered any alternative solutions or specific diets for that. So it's interesting that there's evidence that it could help, maybe, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you've got to seek out beyond just what's traditionally out there. I mean, the same thing in medicine, you know, yeah, you can walk into what happens with us human beings as individuals is, I can tell you, my wife Isabel works as a functional medicine doctor, and she also works frontline as a doctor in an urgent care center. And in that urgent care center, in that traditional model, 30 some years of doing that, she could say, well, I've never had anybody walk in and say, well, I got nothing going on, but I'd like to prevent any problems in my life. Can we sit down and talk about it?
Yeah.
Now,
nice.
what you see is people, the old ambulance at the bottom of the cliff saying, what you see is people who, I got all this stuff going on. I guess I'm going to have to go in and get taken care of. And yes, that can be taken care of on a temporary basis. The problem is we human beings, we wait until all this stuff is going on. And then we say, okay, fix it. Well, that's not going to happen in a 10, 15, 20-minute visit, even a half-hour chat we might have. We got some work to do because that's probably developed over not weeks, not months, most likely years, and possibly decades, depending on your age. So then there's work to be done. That's where the area I work in.
So something that came up for me, you know, you mentioned how people tend to wait till things get really bad before they do anything about it. Do you think that's just, you know, the way we are in society, just the way we think, or is it maybe like a financial thing? Because you're talking about taking all these panels, these tests. Is that accessible to everyone, or like, you know what I mean? Like, do you think there's a reason why people wait to the last minute before they act on their health?
I think the number one thing is, I mean, I guess I would say I even have a list of all the pros of functional medicine and functional nutrition. Yeah. And all the pros is it's the best way to get you where you want mentally and physically. The big con or the big negative is time and money.
Yeah.
Because, it's not going into the doctor and getting some drugs and, okay, here you go. And of course, we know that's most, it's a temporary relief. But it's going to take time and money to dig down deep and to get, to where you need to go. That would be the big negative. But here's the thing. What I find is that it's a priority problem. It's not a time and money problem.
Okay.
Because us human beings, if we look at what's our priorities in life, number one is whatever our job is, career is, because we need to make money, right? Yeah. So that's the priority.
Yeah, relatable to me. Yeah.
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 And then the next priority that society has taught us is like owning a home or having assets, having stuff, having
liabilities. Having liabilities. Yeah.
Having a car, having a house. You hear all the time, what's your number one asset? It's your home. Well, I haven't, the problem is nobody ever says, what's your number one asset? Your health. I mean, I would say that.
Yeah.
But that's why I say it's, and then it's jobs, careers, the stuff, homes, cars, things. And then what's the next thing? Holidays. I mean, I have lots of people who many, many times when I've said, okay, we need to invest let's say $500 or $1,000 or maybe a couple $1,000 on these things in your health. And if we do that over the next 6 months, we can relieve all this and we can get you on a great path to where you want optimally. Well, no, actually, we're going away for a couple weeks on holiday and I need that money for that holiday. Okay. Was it a money problem? No, it was a priority problem.
Right.
And I can tell you, I hear that all the time. Now, some people, not saying that for some people it's not a money problem, but for us, usually what happens 9 out of 10 times when somebody doesn't go forward with something like that, it's not a money problem, because then I find out it's more of a priority problem, because they say, well, I can't because I'm doing these things. Oh, well, we're doing a renovation of our bathroom right now, and that's going to cost $15,000. So I can't really invest anything in my health right now. Well, you know, where are we as a society prioritizing our health? Yeah. It's way down there. And that's why I say it's this ambulance at the bottom of the cliff thing. Like, well, I'm not prioritizing it right now. It's not that important. Boom, all this stuff happens. Help me, help me. Now yeah. It's a priority. Oh my gosh.
And things get really expensive then sometimes too, right? By that point.
If we'd have done it back here, we could have spent, let's just say $2,000 or something and taken care of the problem and moved you forward. But now, because it's moved along into like the danger zone, we're looking at $5,000 to $10,000 because of the time. Now it's going to take you 18 months to reverse what's just happened to you. So that's the thing.
So priorities, we're not prioritizing our health.
No.
Do you have any idea how we could shift that? How we can make people prioritize their health?
I would love to have the answer to that one, because believe me, I'd be.
Well, maybe these conversations.
It's just conversations about it, and when you're talking to people and just, asking them, would you rather have that holiday or would you rather have your health? I mean, it's a difficult conversation and it's not the easy conversation, but I mean, you can ask anybody who's sick with some kind of disease or something and ask them, well, would you rather have the car or would you rather have your health back? Would you rather have that, the holiday around the world for the last year or your health back? I can guarantee you they'd say, well, forget all that stuff. Just give me my health back. I'd like to get my life back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it's us human beings.
It's an afterthought, once it's already too late. Oh, well, I wish I would have done different. Whereas if you would have just been preemptive about it and, figured things out. So what's your role specifically when it comes to functional nutrition? Like, do you recommend meal plans or what do you do?
Yeah, great question. Well, what I do is I dig down deep into each individual, find out what's going on. What are you looking to achieve? What's your optimal health look like? What's the time frame we're looking at? Where are you at right now? And then get all the information about your current lifestyle. And then when I talk about nutritional panel, basically that also includes your daily lifestyle. So then I start to lay out a plan for the person's daily lifestyle, because if sleep's bad, I want to help them through nutrition, getting better sleep. And when I talk about nutrition, I don't mean just like tell people to eat their veggies. When I talk about nutrition, I'm talking about what might be your intermittent fasting levels, because we've heard about it fasting, which is great, but we're all different. Some people can intermittent fast 12 hours. Some can do up to 18 hours, and it works for them. So it's not a one size fit all in fasting. Okay. Another thing, just to give you an example, is my wife Isabel and I work in the area of preventing and reversing dementia, because we now know we can. We've got a plan to do that. And that's a whole other topic. But in that, there's a test for a gene called the ApoE4 gene. And we know that gene is a biggie for telling whether somebody has a high percentage of possibly getting Alzheimer's, especially if it runs in the family. I mean, it could be up to a 90% more probability of having dementia in their life if they have that gene. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to have it, but then we need to look at, okay, if you've got that, then what's your nutritional panel? Because that would be different from me, who I've been tested for that and I don't have that gene. That person who has that gene, they can't have saturated fats. So I have to talk to them about the types of fats. I mean, they have to stay away from coconut oil, butter, lard, other kinds of saturated fats. They can have monoinsaturated, they can have extra virgin olive oil and other types of fats. So that's how functional nutrition, depending, and that's why sometimes I have to say, well, if this is what we're looking at, or we're working in an area of cognitive decline, then we have to get this test for the ApoE4 gene, because to be able to make sure I've got you, on some correct areas here, this is one of the tests we need to do.
Yeah. I was going to say, this sounds a lot more sophisticated than I expected. I mean, because if talking about genes, unless you get tested, you'll go your whole life and not really realize, right? So how would you know that maybe you can't have coconut oil, like you said, unless you get tested, or you feel like crap after eating it, but you're not aware of what's causing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, one of the other things you can do, I mean, you mentioned gluten. Like, we do know that gluten and dairy is two of the most highly inflammatory things we can eat for our systems. Now, why this is not a gluten and dairy show, shall I say, but we do know that no human being can 100% digest gluten without a little bit of effect. However, some people really aren't affected by much. Other people are very affected by gluten, all the way up to celiacs, who could almost die from it. Yeah. And so I know Isabel and I are gluten sensitive. How do we know that? Because we eliminated gluten totally, 100%, made sure we had any gluten in it for 30 days. And then how did we feel? Well, it felt amazing. Now, for us, we felt amazing. And then you incorporate it, and this is kind of an elimination type thing you can do. Yeah. Then we incorporated it back in for a few days and watched what happened. And holy cow, we blew up. We got bloated. We got foggy brained, all this kind of stuff. And we're like, okay, we are definitely hypersensitive to gluten. So we're 100% gluten free. Now, it's one of the, and the same thing with dairy. We know that with dairy, 70% of the world's population is lactose intolerant, meaning they can't actually handle dairy. But the thing is, because we've mostly all been weaned on it since the beginning, after breast milk, people get on to dairy. We don't really know, are we sensitive to dairy, until we eliminate it for a minimum of 30 days and then bring it back in for a couple of days and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been familiarized with the elimination diet. Like I said, when I was, diagnosed with colitis. My question is, if you want to practice functional nutrition, would elimination diet be kind of like a way to go about it on your own time? If maybe you're not prioritizing, or you can't afford seeing a specialist, but you want to kind of dabble, see what might make you feel better, what might make you feel like crap. Would that be a way of practicing functional nutrition?
Yeah, that would be something you could do on your own. I mean, we've got an elimination program, Isabel and I, and I mean, it's pretty inexpensive that we guide people through that, because if you're going to do it, you need to know how to do it properly. Yeah. Because there's about 8 things that are the biggest high markers for inflammation to the body systems. And when you can either just do one a month if you want, or you could do all 8 for that month. But then when you bring them back in, you can't bring them all back in at the same time, because you never know which one is affecting you. You could do, I mean, it's everything from gluten, dairy to coffee and alcohol. We don't know if we don't eliminate these things. So I would say if somebody wants to do the elimination diet type way, then make sure that you either get some coaching or know how to do the program, because if you don't do it correctly, you could be way off base. Because I've known people that have eliminated a few things and then they put them all right back in, but then they couldn't figure out which was which, and or that. So I mean, right now I'm currently working with a beautiful young lady who's in her 40s, but she's got all these pains going on, arthritis, a lot of some gastro problems and this and that's, and autoimmune disease is attacking her body because she's got a lot of inflammation going on. And of course, traditionally she's been to a lot of doctors and they've given her prednisone and the steroids and all this and that. And she goes, okay, well, I feel better now, but I know I can't be taking this stuff for the rest of my life because it'll break it. Basically what it does is it shuts down your immune system.
Yeah.
Well, if we logically think about it, if our innate immune system, if our God-given immune system doesn't work, that means we're not protected against stuff.
Yeah, you're vulnerable. Yeah.
That's not good. And so anyway, but working with her on eliminating things, finding out what's going on with her, and that was just a light bulb moment for her. Like, oh, really? Well, I don't know. I've always had everything. I mean, I've never eliminated anything. It's like, well, we got to start. Let's find out what's affecting you. What's throwing you up? What's tripping your body up?
Yeah, I know. So you mentioned, don't reintroduce everything that you've taken off your plate. Like, don't reintroduce it all at once, because you want to be able to see what affects you. But how much do you take off? Like, how much do you stop eating? Because I know for me, when elimination diet was first mentioned to me, I was told, well, follow the brat diet. So basically I was eating bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. That was it. And then I would slowly add one food item back into my diet. And I was like, man, like, I'm not enjoying any of what I'm eating now. I've taken so much off my plate. There's so few things available to me that I'm craving all the other stuff. So if you were to recommend to do an elimination diet, how would you approach that? Like, I'm guessing it's very individualized, right? Personalized.
Yeah. I mean, it depends what we're looking to do. I mean, for our program that we have, I know we eliminate 8 things, but we're not eliminating the macronutrients that we need. We're not totally eliminating fats, the good fats, like extra virgin olive oil and olives and nuts and seeds. We're not eliminating leafy greens. We're not eliminating vegetables. We're not eliminating fish, chicken, and meat, but we're eliminating a bunch of other things, like gluten, dairy, alcohol, coffee. I think eggs is one of them. Corn's another one. I'd have to look up what the other 2 are. And so there's a lot of food in the world. I mean, there's plenty of food.
So it sounds like you have like your few food items that are your kind of go-to culprits, right?
Your top 8. I mean, it could be beyond that, but you start with the top 8 that are well known to be highly inflammatory in people. And again, if somebody says, well, I just don't think I could all do that. Okay, well, then let's just eliminate gluten and dairy for 30 days. And let's start there.
Yeah.
And that's, and that might be, well, I mean, for most people, that would be a lot just to eliminate those 2.
Yeah.
Or it might just be gluten.
Yeah. Is there a certain time or age you would say people should like start looking into this? Like, do you want to start doing this with a toddler, or?
No.
Like the panels and elimination diet and things like that.
Well, I know our daughter, we had a daughter that was what's called colicky, meaning they have a lot of just rash, crying, a lot of problems when they're as a baby. And so one of our daughters didn't sleep more than 2 to 4 hours a night, probably for the first year. And just crying, had rashes. when she pooped, it would almost be bloody. I mean, there was just so much going on. So we did a panel where it gives you the allergies to see what she might be allergic to. So yeah, you can do a food allergy panel. And that was something that was important to us. And we found all of these things that she was allergic to, which we'd have never known if we wouldn't have done that testing.
Yeah.
And as time's gone on, she's grown out of some of them, but one of them was eggs for her. So if she's 28 now.
Yeah.
If we hadn't done that, we wouldn't know. I mean, maybe we'd have known at some point, but if she has a couple poached eggs, like if she has an eggs Benedict with poached eggs with hollandaise, which is an egg and butter sauce, if she has like just that for breakfast, she'll get she'll get an upset stomach, very bloated, feel sick.
Yeah.
But if she had maybe just a poached egg and some veggies and some other things, she's okay. But that's where that's gone. But she knows she's highly sensitive to eggs. Some people are, some people aren't. But without any kind of testing or elimination, you would never know.
Yeah.
You might have a high sensitivity to dairy, but if you never eliminate it, you don't know. And you've got all these symptoms that keep coming up in your life. And you can either throw some drugs at it, or you can get to the root cause and say, well, why do I keep having why do I get sick often? A lot, and we all know people who it's like, gosh, every other month you got the cold or the flu. I mean, something's going on. Something's not, something's overloading your immune system. That's the thing. If there's a lot of chronic stuff coming up, that means your immune system works for a little bit and then it gets overloaded. And we have to look at, why is my immune system getting overloaded? It's like filling up the bucket that we can handle it, we can handle it. And then eventually it just goes, I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's when we see symptoms. But we have to look at, okay, why does it keep getting up there? So we can keep a healthy immune system. So then, that's, there's a lot, man.
Yeah, one of the things that came up for me is you mentioned that, your daughter outgrew one of her conditions. Now, I know you can also kind of, I guess, develop one over time as well. And you also mentioned earlier in the episode that, as you age, your needs become different. So if you want to kind of stay on top of your health, or, maximize the benefits of what you're eating, like how often would you have to kind of check in and kind of go over, okay, maybe I should do a new panel, or I should do a new elimination diet just to see where I'm at? Like, often should you check in on yourself, you'd say?
Well, I can tell you, Isabel and I do a very simple thing. Every year in December, just before Christmas, we go and give blood, get a full blood panel of the whole, all these different things like, vitamin D, hemoglobin A1C, which measures the glucose in your body. That's something for diabetics and pre-diabetics to, understand how much glucose is running through my system. Am I moving into pre-diabetes and diabetes? Yeah. Vitamin D levels are probably one of the most important things we can do for our immune system and our health. And then a couple other ones. Mostly, I imagine, I don't know in Canada, but I imagine most healthcare systems will cover those basic ones. You might have to pay some. We pay some out of pocket. It might be, we get about 8 different things done. Yeah. And I know that's a lot of blood things, but hey, once a year we get it done. And it might be $100 out of pocket, depending on what country you're in. Maybe it's less, maybe it's all covered. And that can give you, it's almost like taking your car in for a checkup. I mean, that's a basic thing we can do, is once a year, go get that checked. And, they'll take a look at your blood pressure and all those things. So you can get a good panel done of your bloods, take a look at that once a year and just see and know, have your records of where you were a year before, and just know I'm not sliding somewhere.
Yeah. Sounds like being consistent is good too, because then you get to see year over year, okay, where was I before? Oh yeah, I made that change, I'm doing better. Or, maybe I need to tweak. And as your body changes and your health changes, you're always on top of things. So it's just a matter of, when you go for your yearly checkup, just ask the doctor, hey, could you run these panels?
Yeah.
See, those are not even things that wouldn't cross my mind, though. So you got to get like people have to get educated on these things, right? Because how do you know what to ask for if you don't even know?
Well, what you can do is pay attention to DoctorOnAmission.com and at Doctor on a Mission social media channels, because we talk about this every day.
Yes. Yeah, you do. You guys have a great show. I want to be respectful of your time, Michael, because I see we're like 40 minutes in. Do you have any kind of things you feel like we skipped over when it comes to functional nutrition? Anything you'd want to kind of talk about?
No, because I know we could keep going on about it. I think the number one thing is with functional nutrition, what we're talking about is there's prevention and then there's reversal. And prevention is really about what we can do to not get down there to where we need to be then looking at reversal, meaning we can apply nutrition as medicine to reverse symptoms and diseases that have happened. But I like people to look at prevention because, yes, it's going to be time and money, but it's a lot less than when we get to the other end. Now we've got to make a massive commitment with time and money when we get down to that kind of end down here where there's a train wreck and we got to kind of bring it all back. So the key is really thinking about prevention. What am I doing for my number one asset, which is my health? If I don't have my health, the rest of it is pretty useless.
Yeah, you're just struggling through life at that point, and if that.
Yeah.
So, Doctor on a Mission. Do you have an episode that covers functional nutrition that maybe the listeners?
I would have to look into it, but I say probably the best thing to do is everything we've talked about. You could go to DoctorOnAmission.com. Check us out. There's a lot of freebies on there. One of the freebies I've got on there is if you happen to have children or know of somebody that's got children, I've got a free brain guide for healthy brains for healthy kids. So it's basically to help understand that we're developing our brain up through the age of 12 and beyond, that it's a big, big time to make sure our kids are getting proper nutrition to develop their brains. So we can really affect a great way we can help our kids. And I've got a free guide there. There's all kind of freebies. And then just look for our handle at Doctor on a Mission on social media. We got stuff happening every day. Dr. Isabel's on there every day. I'm on there. We're talking about all this goodness. So there's a lot of special info out there that you can get. And other than that,
and the MD and Chef Team show on YouTube,
MD and
right?
Chef Team show, the MD and Chef Team show, our show just like yours, and we'll do our best to be as amazing as this show is. But ours is really around the functional medicine, functional nutrition, and that airs on, let me see, that will be Wednesdays, 9 p.m. USA Eastern time.
Perfect. Well, I'll be sure to send all my traffic your way because I do love what you guys are doing. I love, just the energy that you guys have together. This, I don't know, just the way you interact with each other. It's great to see. And I love that you guys are, like you said, you're addressing the root cause and not just dealing with the symptoms, right? Like, let's figure out what's causing the issue, not just throw a pill at it. So I love your guys' approach. I really do.
Thanks, man. That's the only way to go. It's the new medicine of the 21st century. That's where it's going.
Preventative medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, Michael, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to let you go with that. And I'll be sure to send everybody your way because I love the work that you and Isabel are doing.
Thank you so much for being here and love your show, Tripping Through Transformation. What a great title. What an amazing show. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you, Michael.
Take care. Bro.
Well, Trippers, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Chef Michael Hunsinger on functional nutrition. If you're looking for more information, I would recommend you check out his website, DoctorOnAmission.com, or his show, the MD and Chef Team show with his wife, Dr. Isabel Hunsinger. What I really love about them is that they deal with targeting the root cause, not simply the symptoms of your ailments. So I guess the goal is to cure yourself, not live day to day with what's ailing you and simply numbing the pain and the symptoms, right? So great couple, and great information that they have to share. Earlier, I mentioned that I would share a little bit about microdosing and what I've been doing. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a microdosing expert. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a mycologist. I'm not certified in anything. I'm just a guy who, once upon a time, struggled with mental health, and fortunately, came upon psychedelic mushrooms, and I found benefits, and then I got curious, and here we are today, hosting Tripping Through Transformation. But microdosing is something that's been on my radar for quite some time. I've done a little bit of research on it. Again, I'm not really well versed, but I can kind of guide you guys in the right direction if you want to do your own research. Microdosing, for those of you who don't know, is just literally just taking micro doses of a substance. I guess theoretically it could be any substance, but for the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to be dealing with mushrooms, not solely psychedelic mushrooms, but other mushrooms as well, because different varieties of mushrooms offer different benefits. So for me, the easiest thing I do is I go to groundsound.ca. That's kind of been, groundsound.co. That's the website. I'm going to actually share it with you guys here right now. And they've been my go-to for getting microdosing supplies, as well as for information. So here we go. Yeah, here we go. So, it jumped right to the bottom, but we'll go scroll to the top. So this is what the website is like, groundsounds.co. Again, for those of you who are interested, scroll down to tell you what they are. They have the shop here where you can purchase capsules, got blogs if you're looking for specific information. And I'm just going to take you right to the bottom here real quick, because something that I just noticed is they actually have a link. If you're looking to find a psychedelic therapist and coach, you can actually find one through their website. So if that's something that you're curious about, there you go. There's a source. I've personally never seen a psychedelic therapist. It's definitely something that I would love to do. But much like the reason why I'm not doing microdosing more frequently, it just comes down to money. If you're Canadian like me, you might be feeling that your string purses are a little tight. The economic situation here in Canada is kind of rough for everybody, but for a single dad of 2 kids, microdosing unfortunately falls low on the priority list. But I am hoping to change that. But nonetheless, I treated myself this week, and I got some microdosing capsules. The specific one that I got is Stevie's Wonder. If you check out, I'm going to scroll here. If you check out groundsounds.co, so you'll see here they have Play That Fungi Music, Super Freak, Champions Lover. They have different varieties, and all that is the different capsules contain different types of mushrooms, which have different benefits. The one that I have is Stevie's Wonder, and the reason that I got this one is that it's targeting mental clarity and focus. So that's what I'm really striving for. I think Champions Lovers got things for like stamina and stuff like that, Champions Lover. But so while I have Stevie's Wonder here, I'll tell you why I'm taking this, and I'll share with you what's in it. It's all on the back, and what each component, what potential benefits each component provides. So I'm going to click this out here, and I'm going to bring up my other page. So, like I said, Stevie's Wonder. Sorry, my lights are so bright. Stevie's Ground Sound, Stevie's Wonder. It contains psilocybe cubensis, so that would be your psychedelic mushroom. This one here has 100 milligrams, so you can get 50, 100, and 250. I mean, you're not going to be hallucinating on 100 milligrams of psilocybe cubensis. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how much you would have to take to start having hallucination, because that's probably different for everybody. But that's also not our purpose here today. Our purpose is to just get some mental focus. So the benefits of psilocybe cubensis for mental clarity would be, it provides enhanced mood and emotional balance. That's something that I've been struggling with, kind of trying to staying positive and controlling my emotions, not getting so upset, angry, sad, depressed. kind of keeping me a little bit more level and helping me cope with day-to-day life. It also says that it could be beneficial for increased creativity and problem solving, improved focus and clarity, as well as reduced anxiety and stress, and providing you with spiritual insight. I mean, it says you can have heightened spiritual awareness and deeper connection with your surroundings. I definitely feel that on higher doses of psychedelic mushrooms. I don't know about 100 grams, but definitely makes me feel better. Another mushroom that is in Stevie's Wonder is reishi mushroom. For those of you who don't know, reishi supports the immune system. It reduces stress. It also provides an anti-inflammatory effect. It's known to enhance sleep quality, and it's known to improve your overall longevity. There we go. I'll get it out. It also contains bacopa, which also helps with cognitive enhancement, stress reduction, neuroprotective effects, and it improves your mood. Stevie's Wonder also contains Go-To Cola. And if you're a microdosing expert or a mushroom expert and you know the name of all these mushrooms and I'm butchering them, please let me know in the comments so I can work on the pronunciation. But Go-To Cola also improves cognitive enhancement, anxiety and stress relief, improves circulation in your body. It's actually known to help promote healing wounds and reducing scarring. And I guess it's good for overall skin health. And the last one, which is the main one that I really like from Stevie's Wonder, is lion's mane. And the lion's mane is also good for cognitive enhancement. So you see, that's like a repeating theme here, right? Stevie's Wonder, cognitive enhancement, makes sense. Neuroprotection, so it helps to protect against neurodegenerative diseases. Man, a lot of big words here today. Neurodegenerative diseases by promoting the regeneration of brain cells. It also improves memory and focus. It also helps with mood stabilization and helps with immune support by boosting your immune system. So that's why I take it. Like I said, I've been taking it for about a week. I've taken it in the past, and I always find benefits when I take it. And then I notice almost right away when I stop taking it that the effects disappear. So, I mean, I don't know. This to me is just better than anything else that I can do for my mental health, other than maybe sleeping and exercising, eating healthy, all that stuff. Like when it comes to supplements, this is the go-to for me. So again, I would recommend you guys check out Ground Sounds if you want more information, if you want to order your own. And I was surprised to see that the discount code Tripping10 still works. So, I mean, it did when I tried. So check it out, Tripping10, and you might actually get a 10% discount. So check that out. So that is that for microdosing. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys is this project that I'm working on that I will be working on soon with, I guess, what would you call her? With an author coach, a writing coach, possibly, I guess, a writing coach, Heather Andrews. She's got this program called Get You Visible. And I signed up, and I will hopefully be contributing a chapter to a book called The Unseen Battles. And that's a book on men's mental health. I'm just going to share the website real quick here. And yeah, the great thing about this is, as far as I know, she's still looking for collaborators. So let me scroll here. If you'd like to contribute to a book on men's mental health, Heather is looking for people who have personal stories, expert insights, or creative works like poems, essays, short stories, and things like that. So for me, I'm hoping to share a little bit about my personal story. I don't think I'll get too deep into it in one chapter, but my goal is to kind of give an overview and hopefully one day write a full book and get deeper into my story. But one of the main things I'm hoping to get out of this as well is learning how to share my story in a way that won't impact others. Part of what I want to do on Tripping Through Transformation, here, let me close out of this here. part of what I want to do on Tripping Through Transformation is share more of my personal story. The issues that I've been having is, how do I do that in a way that I guess doesn't impact others? So for me, I'm pretty open about my life. I have no issues discussing anything, the goods, the bad, but I want to be conscious of, let's say if I share a story about myself, obviously people that hear that are going to have opinions, and I wouldn't want those opinions, let's say, to reflect onto my children. Like, I don't want me talking and then that affecting my kids. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that I'm struggling with as well is, if there's a story that involves another person, well, how do I tell that story and share, my perspective and the way that the event impacted me without dragging the other person through the dirt, or without making them feel uncomfortable, or without maybe sharing things that they don't want shared, right? So that's the dance that I'm having with Tripping Through Transformation. And so I'm hoping that by working with, a professional storyteller, that can kind of find a way to how can I put this, to effectively share my story in a meaningful and impactful way without negatively affecting others. So I'm really looking forward to working on this book. If everything goes according to plan, we're going to start doing drafts in September of 2024. And the book should actually be released, hopefully, on Amazon in February of 2025. So that gives us about 5 months to kind of do the draft, to do the write-up, to do the editing and all that stuff. So I'm really excited, looking forward to it. And again, if you have something you'd like to collaborate to the book, reach out to Heather Andrews. I want to make sure I got her name correct. I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, Heather Andrews. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen anymore. Shit. I'm going to share it again. Pardon my language, by the way. Yeah. Heather Andrews. You see, she is a #1 best-selling author, publisher, and story strategist. And she's helped over 307 best-selling authors create over 30 #1 best-selling books. So, I mean, men's mental health, worthy cause, share your story, make an impact. I think this is a wonderful opportunity, and if you're interested, you should definitely check it out. So yeah. So what's to come of Tripping Through Transformation? Something else I'd like to share with you guys here quickly. Season 1 was my time with NGBN, and I primarily used that time to actually just get comfortable being on camera. For those of you who saw my first episode, I had the headphones on, listening to binaural beats, because I was just kind of in my head freaking out about, just being on camera and speaking to people. So I had that to kind of help me focus. Also worried about people upstairs hearing me, judging me. I have my kids and girlfriend upstairs at the time, and I was always worried about, what are they going to think of me? Are they laughing? My own children, my own family members. That's how I felt. But that's something that I've had to overcome. And I think I've done a good job at it. I mean, here I am talking to you now. I'm still stumbling. I'm still kind of, having these moments where I'm searching for what I want to say. But I mean, the only way I'm going to get better at this is by consistently doing this and speaking. So I think I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm comfortable doing that. I'm not scared to come on camera anymore. So for me, the next step is going to be to start having a more consistent format to the show. I really want to bring my 5 Ps on a consistent basis. And my 5 Ps are that every show I would like to share one person's story. So that's, 1 P, people. Have a professional either come on and talk about something, or just bring up an article or a clip of something that I found. So professionals. Discuss places of healing or of growth or of whatever. So that could be, you want to go heal in the hot springs. That would be a place. Or maybe there's an organization where you could get you can get educated on mental health or coping mechanisms. So I'd like to discuss that. So that's what I mean by places. Psychedelics, of course, is another P. So that's something I'd like to talk about more consistently. And the last P is practices. So that'd be like meditating, rolfing, massage, listening to binaural beats, hypnosis, whatever, cold plunges, stuff like that. So I want to bring those to the show more consistently. And what I've started doing is actually writing up kind of like a procedure on how the show should be structured. And this is something I'm working on, so that hopefully by the end of season 2, you'll have a more polished show that'll be more consistent in length and in the format and all of that. So that's kind of where I'm at with Dripping Through Transformation. Again, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Chef Michael. I hope I was able to give you guys some information, at least enough information on microdosing, so that if you're curious, you guys can go out and kind of find your own stuff that you're looking for. And again, if you're interested in contributing a story or some creative work to a book on men's mental health, I highly recommend that you check out theunseenbattles.com and Heather Andrews Get You Visible website. If you want to author something, she coaches you through it. So yeah, I think that wraps it up for episode 15. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you. Take care.